大家可能对我们 IvyCompass 已经是比较熟悉了。我们呢是致力于将北美口碑最好的前藤校招生官、独立的升学顾问以及这一个艺术作品集、辅导、课程及竞赛等非常稀缺的教育资源对接给我们全球的华人家庭。我们把 IvyCompass 比作是升学的这个 Costco 哈，所以所有的在IvyCompass 平台上能找到的这一个包括升学顾问以及升学的相关的资源呢，都是经过我们的前期的筛选和把关的。因为我们知道，其实对于家长和学生来说，找这个升学顾问以及资源的痛点哈，就是太多的选择。非常多的这一个就是大公司、小公司、中公司都有，家长不知道怎么去做一个最合理的选择，所以呢，我们呢也是致力于在经过我们的前期把关之后呢，把至少是我们觉得口碑是可靠的、质量是可靠的资源呢，对接给我们的华人家庭。我们说升学导师哈，其实是判断一家升学机构的最重要的标准。IvyCompass 我们的升学导师呢，平均的这一个从业的年资哈，是超过10年以上，所以他们每一个人呢，都是我们说经验非常的丰富，而且呢，是可以提供所谓的一条龙的服务，也就是从前期的规划到升学到文书这一系列的这个服务的话呢，他们都是可以在他们的手上一条龙把它做下来的。大家可以看到哈，我们的这个升学的这一个拿到的 offer 的比例38%的学生呢是可以拿到哈耶普斯马以及藤校的 offer。这个是包括了国际学生以及美国国内的学生。Top 30的比例是81%，Top 40的比例呢，基本上是达到了97%，所以我们基本上所有的学生的话，他们都能拿到这个 Top 40以上的 offer。我们说，如果从我们拿到 Rich School、Target School 和 Safety School，也就是3个档次的学校的这么一个 offer 比例来看呢，80%的学生他是可以拿到他的 Rich School 的 offer 的。目前呢，我们已经拿到了一些早生的 offer 的好消息哈，大家可以看到，像 MIT、斯坦福、Yale、UPenn、Cornell 这一类的藤校哈，包括这个第一梯队的学校，我们都有所斩获。接下来的话呢，我们也会陆续的等到这个 RD 轮还有 ED2的学校的好消息。在此的话呢，也预祝如果目前在听的家长的孩子，您也是今年哈2024到2025的申请的话呢，也首先预祝您的孩子能拿到他的梦校的 offer。目前的话呢，您看到的是我们的联系方式，官网 www.ivycompass.com，我们的办公室呢是位于纽约曼哈顿39街。如果您是住在这个 Tri-State area，或者是住在纽约的话呢，欢迎您和我们取得联系，到我们的这个办公室来和我们的顾问进行约谈。2个二维码小助手的二维码，您扫码之后呢，可以加入我们的 IvyCompass 升学咨询群，还有微信公众号。所有的这一个回放哈，我们都会同时的通过微信公众号来发给我们的家长。如果您不想错过每一期的这个精彩讲座的话呢，欢迎您关注我们的微信公众号。好的，今天的话呢，我们的这个讲座呢就正式的开始了。我作为这个升学的这个导师哈，我其实在这边拿到的很多的家长和学生的问题，就是说怎么去选择最合适他们的学校，以及怎么去 make a balanced college list。我们很多时候会给孩子说，其实适合比 ranking 更重要。如果你只是在看 US News 的 ranking 的话，很多时候你可能我们说会变成炮灰哈，就是申请的时候变成炮灰，因为你可能把所谓的很宝贵的 ED 的机会给了不适合的学校。所以现在的话，对于我们11年级的学生来说，已经慢慢会进入到这一个 making college list 的这一个时间了。所以我们今天请到了 Annabel，她也是我们 IvyCompass 平台上口碑非常好的一位升学顾问哈。请他来给我们讲一讲如何选择最适合你自己的这个学校，而不是说只看排名。Okay, so Annabelle, now I will give the floor to you.
Sounds great. Thank you so much, Allison, for introducing me. And I'm excited to be presenting on this topic of college fit and why that matters in the admissions process. So I'll go ahead and share screen. Okay, great. So the college search, I'd love to present on why fit matters more than rankings, as Allison introduced previously. And just to set the agenda for today, we'll be exploring some key questions throughout this presentation. First and foremost, why is fit so significant? How should I go about the college search process in a way that's strategic? And how do I demonstrate interest and knowledge in a university within my college application? So that'll be the key questions that we'll explore throughout this presentation today. I'd like to start with why is fit so significant? So, oftentimes we start with the rankings as the first place we look at to explore colleges and universities. Typically, US News and World Report is the first place that we go to, right, to get a sense of highly ranked universities. But what these top colleges are looking to do every year is build a diverse and well-rounded class of students for their incoming class. And so demonstrating how you're a good fit for the school. And that part of that is demonstrating that you have strong knowledge of what the university has to offer. And we'll explore some ways in which you can dive deeper into researching schools beyond those rankings. That's a very significant part of how they're evaluating your application beyond what's on your transcript or your test scores. At certain universities, such as MIT and Harvard, the majority of applicants, early applicants, are actually deferred to the regular decision pool of applicants. That could mean various things. For example, maybe the university wants to get another snapshot of your academic performance through your mid-year report. But often, at these highly competitive schools, like MIT and Harvard, by deferring you, they have an opportunity to evaluate your application alongside the regular decision pool of applicants, see kind of, a bigger picture of what the class can look like as they're looking to piece together that diverse and well-rounded incoming class of students, with each student contributing their own kind of niche and angle to that incoming class. So demonstrating why the university is a good fit for your academic goals, for your interests, how you can explore community and identity at the school. Those are pieces of, how they're looking to evaluate how you'd be a good fit for their incoming class of students. So how do I choose universities that are a good fit for me? How do I develop my list of schools? Well, you definitely want to start broad. So as I mentioned, oftentimes the rankings might be the first place you look. But beyond that, you want to explore different range of colleges and universities in order to then narrow down your top choices. Usually students are applying to about a dozen schools, give or take, about 12 to 15 colleges as part of their college application process. Each of those colleges requires, especially for more selective schools, at least one essay question. Sometimes they have multiple supplemental essay questions that you'll need to respond to. And a lot of the times, those supplemental essay questions are looking to assess fit, how you've demonstrated knowledge in the university and how you thrive on their campus. So when researching colleges and universities, it's important to keep in mind that you're working to develop a balanced list of schools. So that's why you want to, take your time to explore a range of different college options to begin to, understand what's out there and then narrow down your top choices to eventually build that list of schools that we segment into likely, target, and reach schools. For all students, even students with perfect SAT scores, GPAs, and transcripts, the top 10, top 20 US colleges are considered reach schools. You'll definitely want to balance that list and make sure that, those are still schools, target and likely schools that you're still excited about and that you could really see yourself thriving on that campus, given the different types of academic and extracurricular opportunities that university has to offer. So each school on the list should be intentional and, working to build a list of schools that's balanced. Of course, if you have, a first choice school, you might be considering an early decision application. You'll definitely, want to take your time to research that school extensively. Many students visit that school prior to committing to an early decision application. That could be through a campus tour, a summer college visit, summer program. Oftentimes, students might have legacy connections, maybe a sibling or a parent attended that school, and so they're looking to apply early decision. What's interesting is that at Brown University, the early decision acceptance rate for the class of 2028 was around 14%. So they received a little over 6,000 early decision applicants and admitted about 900 students, 898 students through early decision. And those early decision applicants accounted for a little over a third of the incoming class of students. So there are many factors when conducting a college search that you want to consider. First and foremost, academics. Students, will want to look for the kinds of majors and programs of interest that align with their academic interests. Not all schools might offer the major that they're looking for, even though the school is highly ranked. For example, if a student wants to study business and specifically marketing, not all universities have a College of Business. They might offer a broader economics degree within their College of Arts and Sciences. For example, a student who might want to dedicate themselves to music. Some schools have colleges of music. Other schools have the music major housed within the College of Arts and Sciences. So, each school has a unique set of offerings, and that's, first and foremost, what you want to explore during your college search. When we look at some supplemental essay prompts later on in this presentation, many of the colleges ask, why us? Why do you want to attend our school? What kinds of majors are you interested in? Oftentimes mentioning courses can really help with the specificity of how you approach that question. And, these might ultimately be the courses you enroll in as a college student. So you want to see, the kind of academic opportunities that university has to offer. Along those lines, research and faculty mentorship. Faculty mentorship, especially at medium-sized universities, can really allow students to, build a great relationship with their professors, conduct research alongside of them, especially if graduate school is something the student is looking to do. Post-undergrad research and faculty mentorship can really help with letters of recommendation. Class size and school size, from small liberal arts colleges to large public universities. There are a range of colleges in terms of size and, about how many students would be in your class. So that's one thing you want to consider as well. Internship programs and study abroad. Many students are drawn to colleges within cities for professional opportunities, networking, and internships, but many colleges, even in more rural areas, have opportunities for students to spend a semester away in a big city like New York, or study abroad, for example, to build up their professional experience as well. Campus life and campus culture, understanding, campus traditions, extracurriculars, what opportunities there are outside of the classroom, anything from athletics as well, music, performing arts, that can all be a part of a student's college experience outside of the classroom. So those are also additional factors that you want to look for. Location, as we discuss, housing, how that's structured, and of course, resources and student support services such as writing and tutoring centers, career centers, campus health facilities. These are all key factors in a college search process. So how can I learn more about a school beyond the rankings? Well, first and foremost, you want to visit the university's website. It contains a lot of information about academic programs, majors, as well as some of the other factors we just looked at in the previous slide. You can find a lot of that information on the university's website. But you might also have additional questions, and that's where a campus visit or connecting with an admissions representative that might either visit your area, or some colleges do allow you to schedule a conversation with an admissions representative. Those are some ways to learn more about a school. Many colleges offer virtual tours that you can take if you can't visit in person. Colleges can also host events in the area. Your school counselor or college counselor can help you learn more about a school and direct you. Current students and alumni from the university can help you better understand, especially for specific kinds of majors or programs that you might be interested in. It could be great to connect with the student there and alumni, or just get a better feel for the campus life, campus culture by connecting with students. Professors at the university, even social media, spending a summer at the university. Those are all different ways in which you can learn more about a school. What's interesting is that some colleges will ask how you've learned about the university through your college search process. So on the right of the screen, this is actually a screenshot from Common App of Lehigh's application. And they ask how you've learned about Lehigh, and you can enter various contacts from emails. So make sure to sign up for mailing lists and info sessions as well. Connecting with alumni, at admissions, virtual tour, current students. So Lehigh is one of the universities, and we'll go into demonstrated interest in the next slide, that does take into account demonstrated interest, meaning, how you've, either learned or interacted or engaged with the university. They will ask that on your application. Other schools, such as Duke, won't ask you to kind of, list the different ways in which you've learned about Duke, but they will be assessing your demonstrated knowledge on the university through different parts of your application. So they refer to this as demonstrated knowledge. And regardless if a school tracks demonstrated interests, demonstrated knowledge is the way in which students can really align themselves with specific opportunities that the university has to offer. So Duke says what they recommend is that students take the time to explore what Duke has to offer in light of their hopes and expectations for college, and to think carefully about why there might be a good match between them and us. So the term that Duke uses is demonstrated knowledge rather than demonstrated interest in terms of the number of times that you visited, met, or contacted the admissions committee or the university. So for any college, you definitely want to demonstrate strong knowledge on what they have to offer and how that college is a good match for you. So again, ways in which you can learn about a school: mailing lists, events, tours, the website. Keep a list of the things that appeal to you in the colleges that you're considering, and think about the specific match between you and the college. This is a quote that I took directly from Northwestern University's admissions website that I think sums this up very neatly. So the fit factor, you can think of fit as a story that you tell these colleges about how you see yourself thriving on their campus. So this is part of the broader college admissions narrative that you're piecing together. Probably know it's not enough to have a good SAT and grades if you're looking at a school like Northwestern. That's kind of what gets you in the door. But beyond that, crafting that story about how you'll thrive on their campus can really help set you apart from other applicants. This is also from Northwestern's website, and these are questions to ask, not just for Northwestern, but pretty much any college to help you think about fit. academic growth. It's the first thing they want to kind of understand is your interest, the kinds of academic topics you are excited to explore in college, the kinds of questions that drive you forward. So another factor in addition to academics, part of the fit assessment is community and even identity. So they want to learn about what community means to you. That could be family, religious, cultural, service-based, the types of involvements that have been most meaningful for you, extracurriculars, whether, in or outside of school. And then this is a great question also to really consider is how you envision yourself plugging into, learning from, and contributing to Northwestern or any college's community. And we'll see many schools like Cornell ask a question about how a student defines community and how they'll explore community at the university. Personal characteristics, what you're proud of, what makes you awesome. So that can really help, the admissions committee get a sense of how you'll contribute to their incoming class of students, what kind of friends you hope to make in college, what kind of friend would you be? Those are questions to kind of think about as you also direct your own college search process where you can see yourself really thriving. What gives you joy, what excites you academically. So these are great questions, not only for Northwestern, but any school to consider as you think about, whether that school would be a good fit and also what you want to kind of bring to life in your application. Further considerations, we talked about the importance of identifying colleges that have the right academic opportunities that you're looking for. But, many students might be undecided or interested in more than one field. And that's okay. U.S. colleges and universities usually structure their four-year program so that the first year of college you can explore different kinds of courses and have flexibility in terms of the classes that you take, and then you'll have to start taking further along the road classes more focus on your major and your requirements there. But some students might know what they want to study. For example, if that's business and marketing, they want to look for a business school, business program. Oftentimes, if a student is undecided, they would likely be considering colleges of arts and sciences in which, various liberal arts and science disciplines are housed. But, regardless if you're applying undecided, the schools are still looking to understand what interests you academically, what excites you. And so also working with a college counselor can help you further look into certain kinds of majors and programs so that you can have more clarity around where your interests lie and be able to articulate that effectively to a university. Many students might be interested in more than one field, and maybe they're looking for a college with a lot of flexibility in terms of classes that they can take as opposed to requirements. Smaller private liberal arts colleges really provide that flexibility in terms of their curriculum. Brown University, for example, has an open curriculum that's really a hallmark of what the university has to offer. And what's interesting is that some universities like Columbia also offer several interdepartmental majors. So for example, there's a political science statistics major that's really interesting at Columbia, and Berkeley, for example, offers the management, engineering, and technology interdisciplinary degree. I'd also like to take you to some of these websites so you can kind of get a sense of what it looks like to visit an undergraduate admissions page, be able to see those unique offerings. So for example, Columbia University has a computer science and mathematics interdepartmental major. As I mentioned, the the poli-sci statistics major, which is really unique. Economics and political science are combined, economics with philosophy. So, going on the school's website has a lot of valuable information as you're beginning this college search process. And not all universities offer these kinds of interdepartmental majors. So if you think that's a good fit for what you're looking for, if your interests, span a variety of different disciplines, these kinds of interdisciplinary programs or programs that combine different departments might be a great fit for what you're looking for as well. Another great way to learn about a school is connecting with students or alumni from the university. So on a school's website, you will likely find student perspectives on the major, and that's really helpful to get a sense of what has excited students about being a student at that particular program. So with Berkeley, they mentioned it's a big school feel, but this specific program, the Management Engineering Technology program, gives you a smaller cohort experience. And you'll often, see student voices mentioned here. This student is reflecting about how valuable it was to be a student in terms of Berkeley providing entrepreneurship-focused opportunities. You can even, start building, as a student, build a LinkedIn so that you can reach out to these college students or alumni, connect with them, ask to chat with them about their experience being a student there. That can give you a better sense of what the university has to offer, if it's a good fit for you, and also to better help you research certain opportunities or learn more about certain opportunities that you can maybe even incorporate ultimately into your college essay writing process. For example, this student here, I was able to find on LinkedIn. And so, if I were a high school student, I would come to his profile and, conveniently the student's email address, Berkeley email address, is listed on LinkedIn. I can, send him an email, set up a time to connect, and that's a great way to learn more about this particular program that Berkeley has to offer. So ultimately, this all comes together in the college application process. So, you've built your list of schools, you identified the ones that are a good fit. Now you have to tell the school why you're a good fit for their university and why the opportunities there align for what you're looking for. Not just academics, but a lot of the times, as I mentioned before, the questions can also relate to community or identity. For example, Cornell has a community essay, Vanderbilt has a community essay. So you'll want to reflect on what community means to you. This is where a college counselor can really be valuable in guiding a student in terms of identifying values that they want to reflect in their essay, what kind of community the student's involved in, and how to translate that into a college essay. And then, of course, towards the end of the essay, it's great to always connect to certain communities at the university that you could see yourself thriving in. Then, depending on the school, Cornell, for example, has several undergraduate colleges. The College of Arts and Sciences has their own Why Us question. So they ask for students to reflect on what areas of study or majors excite you and why. And your response should convey how your interests align with the college and how you would take advantage of the opportunities in curriculum in arts and sciences. So this is, a great example of a question that's really trying to assess fit, and also, understand that the student has strong knowledge on what the university has to offer, that they're a serious applicant. They know Cornell more than just the name of the school, but have really done their research, taking the time to learn about the university through those different ways that we've explored so far, whether that's talking to students, professors, attending info sessions, visiting the school virtually or in person. This is what juniors should be doing now to prepare themselves to effectively answer these questions that they'll see on their college application. So I want to give you an example and walk you through how to research an academic program. For Cornell, as I mentioned, they have different kinds of undergraduate colleges. I want to choose a interdisciplinary kind of degree in terms of, to give you an example of kind of, when students are able to combine their set of interests. Let's say they have an interest in environmental science or the environment, and they also have an interest in business and economics. There might be a program that allows you to explore both of those things in one major, in a structured major. So for example, let's say the student's academic area of interest broadly is environment and sustainability, but within that, they're interested in environmental management and how that pertains to sustainable business decisions. So we can go on Cornell's website. This major lives within the College of Agriculture and Life Sciences, but it's also a collaboration with CALS and the College of Arts and Sciences. So I can come to the website, learn more about the core curriculum, the required courses for the major. Some of these courses I might want to even include in my supplemental essay for the university. Explore the specific concentrations. And, for this student, they can definitely mention, the sustainable business and environmental economics concentration. Come to the website, learn more about the courses within that concentration as well, look up the professors, research opportunities that relate to the environment and sustainability, student experiences. So there's a lot of information on a website as well in terms of, once you have a sense of the types of academic programs and opportunities you're looking for, when it comes time to write that Why Us essay, drawing upon specific academic opportunities, be it courses, working with specific professors, research opportunities, that will all be necessary to inform your Why Us response. So for example, if a student is preparing to apply to Cornell, they can list out these categories, academic area of interest, the niche within that area, programs, classes, professors, research opportunities, and then use it as a framework as they approach their essay writing process. Beyond the classroom, colleges are also looking to understand how you'll, fit into the incoming class of students and contribute to campus life and the campus community. So it's helpful to think about the other set of interests that you have, as well as your identity and how you can convey that to a university. So let's say a student's interests are writing, music, hiking, and outdoors. Cornell's a great school if you love the outdoors. Dartmouth as well, for example. Lots of opportunities to join outdoor education programs with students. For example, the Cornell Outdoor Odyssey could be something that you potentially mention in an essay. If you're a writer, you can consider joining the Cornell Writing Center. That's where I dedicated 3 years of my undergrad with the Cornell Writing Centers, working with students on applications and essays. The Cornell Daily Sun, if you love music, you can, write music articles for the Cornell Daily Sun while also combining your skills in writing, for example, or join the Cornell Radio. Thinking about identity, for example, this can be cultural, religious, or social. This can be organizations like the Asian American Student Union, the Cornell Women's Leadership Initiative, the Cornell Vegan Society. So as the admissions officers are looking to piece together this diverse, well-rounded class of students, they're looking to see where does this applicant fall within that pool of students. And again, student and campus life information on a website can help you learn a lot about what campus activities are available, student organizations. They might have a directory for you to browse through, social media as well, Cornell activities, again, connecting with students, get a sense of what kind of extracurriculars they participated in, Cornell, for example, is one of those universities that has a thriving Greek life community. So if you could see yourself joining Greek life, that's definitely a school that provides a lot of opportunities, and there's a big Greek life community on campus. Another example I wanted to walk you through is Penn, and how the supplemental essay questions can also mirror each other. They can also be slightly different. For example, Penn has a very unique supplemental essay asking students to write a short thank you note to someone they haven't thanked yet and would like to acknowledge. So Penn is looking for students who can really reflect meaningfully in terms of gratitude and express that effectively within a thank you note, and learn more about people that have been important to that student's life. So that's a very unique essay Penn has, which is really interesting. And then similar to Cornell's community essay, they also have a community essay here, as many colleges do. How will you explore community at Penn? Consider how Penn will shape your perspective and how your experiences and perspective will help shape Penn. In a nutshell, goes back to fit, how you'll contribute to the incoming class of students, and why Penn is a good match for you, how you'll grow at Penn. So the supplemental essay prompts, again, like Cornell, Penn has different kinds of undergraduate colleges. They have a business school, the Wharton School. They have their own essay here, but both the College of Arts and Sciences and the Wharton essay question ask you to reflect on how either a Wharton education will help you explore, interests or issues that are important to you. For the College of Arts and Sciences, they're looking to understand what are you curious about and how you would take advantage of the opportunities in arts and sciences to explore your intellectual curiosity and your academic interests. So again, researching academic programs, similarly with the same example of a student who might be interested in environmental science. Penn has an Earth and Environmental Science department that is then branched out into environmental studies, which is where the sustainability environmental management major is housed. And so that concentration you can learn more about on Penn's website, the required coursework. Can you see yourself taking these kinds of classes? Does it align with your interests? You can read more about, minors in the program as well, undergraduate research opportunities. So similarly, if this were a student interested in sustainability, but also the intersection of that with business management, a lot of these classes within this major are actually cross-listed with certain courses at Wharton, for example. So they would be, a student studying in arts and sciences, but have the opportunity to also take cross-listed courses with the Wharton School. So this concludes the presentation. I want to thank you all so much for attending. Hopefully that gives you a good sense of how to meaningfully structure a college list and approach a strategic college search process in a way that you can identify colleges that are a great fit for you. This is important both for the student and the admissions committees to see if they're a great match for each other. And then now I welcome any questions that you might have. Thank you again.
Hello, Annabel. Yeah. So
Yes.
thank you so much. Thank you so much for such an insightful webinar. And so before we jump into the Q&A session, let me share my screen first. So now I will switch into Chinese to introduce some of IvyCompass programs.
Okay.
Okay. And then so after the short introduction, and then we will jump back into the Q&A session. 我现在 full screen 一下哈，对，在我们做这个问答之前哈，我想介绍几个 IvyCompass 我们的这个项目。第一个的话呢，就是我们专门针对高中生的这一个实习的 program。 这个是实习的 program 的话呢，现在已经是开始招这个春季的学生了哈。大家可以看到哈，目前我们有覆盖非常多的这个热门的领域，包括我们说的 AI technology，然后呢 finance，然后呢media journalism，还有 engineering，包括还有 machine learning。然后以及我们的这个 mental health 以及这个 health technology，这个项目的话呢，我们是把它定位为适合这个10年级以上的学生，也就是说，他可能对他的 passion 的方向有一定的感觉和有一定的这一个已经找到自己的这个 passion 的方向了。同时的话呢，他可能希望得到一些 real world experience，他可以来参加我们的这一个 internship 的 program。所有的 internship 的 program 的公司的话呢，它都是 startup，所以呢，学生是可以直接和这个公司的 manager，甚至是这个 founder 来进行直接交流的。项目呢为期是8周的时间，所以呢不会是一个非常大的一个负担哈。所有的工作的话呢都是可以在线进行的，每周的 commitment 大概是在。Depends on 你是一个什么行业，大概是在5个小时到8个小时之间。对，如果您对这一个 internship 感兴趣的呢，一会儿您可以加我们的小助手的二维码，告诉他您对这个 internship program 感兴趣，他会把相关的资料发给你。此外的话呢，我们还有 research program，research program 的话呢，我们会有4个不同的档次，有 individual research program，这个 individual research program 最低的这个档次的话呢，它是比较适合我们说的9年级的学生，也就是说，其实它培养的是你做科研的一个 mindset 和一个我们说的一个能力。此外的话呢，你可以 upgrade 到这一个 premium 甚至是更高阶的research，呃，那就是从那个第2个档次开始的话呢，是适合10年级以上的学生，也就是说，他可能第一个他的时长会比较长一点，第二个的话呢，他的这个我们说的强度也会比较大一些。research program 我们会帮你匹配不同的领域的mentor，大部分的 mentor 他们都是来自于这个 top 20的名校以及英国的 G5的学校。此外的话呢，我们还会有这一个professor 名校的 professor 的1对1的 premium publication 的 program。如果您对这个 research program 感兴趣的话呢，也欢迎您之后我会露出这个小助手的二维码，您扫二维码进行进一步的这个交流。目前的话呢，我们的 Spring Cohort 这个 application 已经开始了，但是的话呢，如果您现在来的比较晚的话呢，也没有问题，因为呢都是1对1的项目，我们会针对性的根据孩子的这个情况来帮你匹配导师以及这个开始的时间。好的，那我现在的话呢，露出2个二维码，一个二维码呢，就是我刚刚说的小助手的一个二维码，我看一下哈，等我换一下这个二维码，这个二维码可能是其他的二维码。另外一个二维码的话呢，是这个和 Annabel 进行免费1次预约进行咨询的二维码，有2个二维码。您我先换一下那个 IvyCompass 升学咨询群的这个二维码，估计是我上一次那个讲座的一个二维码还没有换的。好，行，现在我们就进入到 Q&A 的这个环节。Okay, so we already have a lot of questions. So Annabelle, you want to pick first? So
Yeah,
we can go through we can go all from the first question. The question from
definitely.
Laura.
Yeah, we have a question asking about the school selection process for students aiming for pre-med. That's a really good question. So pre-med isn't a major per se, but it's a track that you follow certain requirements, course requirements as you prepare for your next step, which is medical school. So you definitely want to make sure that the college has strong pre-med advising resources for you as a student. You'll likely be assigned an advisor to guide you on your pre-med journey. Someone else asked, do universities publish different majors, the acceptance rate by major, so we can learn which ones are hard to get into? Usually, if you go to a university's admissions webpage, you can see some stats from the previous class of incoming students. That usually is not broken down by major. However, if you want to get a sense of which majors are most popular at a university, not by in terms of the applicants, but actually the students who study there, that could give you a sense of which majors are most popular. Unless your application is, really focused on those kinds of academic opportunities, if you're a student with a broader set of interests, sometimes it could be helpful to work with a college counselor to more strategically decide a major that might be more beneficial in terms of your admissions process. So that's something that definitely working with a college counselor can help you with, is determining what's the best major to rank on your college application for a given university. How helpful is summer school versus a competitive summer camp? Well, especially if you have a school in mind for early decision, you're making a commitment to attend that university, spending a summer at that school, can really help you get a sense of, different kinds of opportunities at the school. But usually students spend a summer at a school, regardless if you're applying ED, that might be a top choice for them, that can maybe help demonstrate good knowledge on the university, because you have the opportunity to learn about them, demonstrate strong interest in attending, demonstrate that you're a strong applicant, that you're serious about attending a school. But competitive summer camps, let's say they have opportunities to develop a project, whether you're a business student, science student, maybe that's a tangible outcome like research. You definitely want to see what kinds of opportunities that specific program provides and what you're looking for. So there's a variety of things students can do over the summer. Usually they would spend the summer at a school that's one of their top choices, but also maybe they're looking to enhance their resume with research, or maybe connect with different professionals in fields that they might be considering. And sometimes summer programs allow you to explore certain careers or disciplines to get a better sense of what they have to offer. Do liberal arts colleges provide a more supportive and collaborative environment than the top 30 universities? That's a great question. Not necessarily. Although liberal arts colleges, there is a great book called Colleges That Change Lives. And that book actually is, the majority of those schools are liberal arts colleges, but you can definitely find a supportive and collaborative environment at a top 30 university. Liberal arts colleges, in any school really has, each school has something unique to offer. And all these, top schools, collaborative learning is something that they really emphasize. For example, Lehigh University, on their website, they emphasize collaboration time and time again as well. So not necessarily. However, liberal arts colleges might give you more flexibility, especially if you're undecided, to explore different kinds of interests that you might have. Yeah, hopefully that answers your question. But liberal arts colleges, I think sometimes are underlooked in the admissions process. If you haven't, done some research on them, especially if you have interests across different disciplines, definitely something worth looking into. So someone asked about the difference between the management and technology program at Berkeley versus Penn. Obviously the website has a lot of information about, courses that you can take, their approach to learning, instructors. But as I mentioned in my presentation, connecting with students who have been in those programs can really help give you a great perspective on what it's like to be a student within these programs, which are very selective. You can likely find them on LinkedIn and send an email with their schoolname.edu. It's usually the same format for all students at that university, whether it's, first initial last name, first dot last name. Sometimes, they'll have their email address like that student I showed you on their LinkedIn. So connecting with students or admissions representatives from the university. You can also, sometimes universities will have a contact us page. So you can either connect with, the department or an admissions representative to learn more about the program.
Yeah, but so Annabelle, so in terms of the how hard to get in those two programs, because I know
extremely. It's
yeah.
Very selective, very selective. So that's a really good question, a really good point. These programs, along with, for example, BSMD programs, student mentioned they're on a pre-med track. You definitely want to balance your list of schools. Maybe it's with, if you're interested in chemistry as your major, applying to a chemistry major at some colleges of arts and sciences, identify the BSMD programs that are a great fit for you. Sometimes they accept something like 2% of applicants to those programs. So you definitely, if you're applying to the management technology programs, you might also want to balance your list of colleges with other programs that still kind of provide the opportunities for you to explore both sets of interests, management and technology. Maybe you have the opportunity to still take courses in that particular field, engineering or computer science, while being a business student at another school. So those are some things to look out for. Do you have any recommended schools that are suitable for a student who wants to pursue music as a minor and a STEM major? Or any tips on where we can look for these universities? Great question. So based on what you've described in this question, my general recommendation here would be to look into colleges of arts and sciences. And there are also liberal arts colleges that have a strong music emphasis, like Oberlin. That's one college that I would encourage you to look into is Oberlin. They have a more liberal arts curriculum and different sets of majors, but also strong emphasis on music. Certain universities, depending on what type of music you're interested in, have certain concentrations and opportunities for students there. But if a student is interested in a STEM major, let's say it's physics, and wants to minor in music, you'd likely be looking at colleges of arts and sciences within a given university. I would say, probably check out Princeton, check out Cornell as well. Oberlin is one of the liberal arts colleges, and then other schools like Johns Hopkins have their own school of music. So music wouldn't be, in terms of flexibility, majoring within a College of Arts and Sciences in terms of that flexibility. But sometimes these schools do offer dual degree programs in which you can, in 5 years, graduate with a bachelor's degree from the music school and then a bachelor's degree in the STEM discipline that you're interested in at their arts and sciences university. Interesting question. School websites all look quite similar. Any tips? Well, I think they structure it that way just to make it a bit easy to navigate. But within the website, you'll see, once you kind of, read further into the specifics of the courses, the professors, the research coming out of the university, internship opportunities, career placements from students in the major. Once you start researching these schools for your college essays, you'll find that once you've written your first or second essay, you'll have a solid foundation as you approach the rest of the supplemental essays, because you'll know kind of where to look for certain courses, research information. So they kind of make it easy to navigate and a little bit more uniform in that way. But you definitely want to be as specific as possible with the certain opportunities that that particular university affords when it comes time to write your essay.
Yeah, and I guess one of the best way to actually get more information from particular school, either you hire a professional college counselor, right? They know some insights, like insight knowledges about which program is harder to get in than other programs. And another way could be you attend the virtual info session hosted by the current like school AO, right? And then you can ask questions. So, but I know like some of them might be more diplomatic. They are very, they don't give you like a lot of like hard data. So, but I mean that could be another potential way to get more information. Okay, so let's go to the next question.
Yeah, definitely. So someone asks, summer research versus a summer job, which one can play better weight on the application? Well, for many things in the college admissions process, the answer, it depends on various factors, but I will say if a student is looking to study at a university where research is a huge focus of the undergraduate experience, and the student wants to dedicate time in undergrad to research, then starting summer research can help prepare you for your next step in college and also demonstrate a level of intellectual curiosity to these schools. Summer jobs offer something very different from research. So it's hard to compare them because students might be building different skills with, each of those unique experiences. So, if a student might be interested in gaining part-time job experience, that's something that colleges also value in applications. But it's a different learning experience, different set of skills might be built with these two different kinds of opportunities. But your application will be reviewed holistically. And again, meeting with a college counselor can help a student determine kind of what's the best option for them and how they should be dedicating their summer.
Okay, so Annabelle, I think this question, maybe we skip this. Can you please share some interdisciplinary programs for business and IT, I guess computer science, besides Berkeley and Wharton MNT one? Do you know any other
So Berkeley and Wharton definitely offer kind of the kind of most popular programs in those interdisciplinary business and management. But as I mentioned before, even if a school doesn't offer that kind of program, they might structure their curriculum in such a way in which there's either a technology concentration within the business school, like entrepreneurship, or you have the opportunity to take courses between those sets of different disciplines.
Yeah, I totally echo with you because sometimes if you're looking at the very popular and well-known programs like the MNT, it's so hard to get in. It's too hard to get in. So sometimes maybe you just choose either B school or computer science or data science, right?
Right.
And yeah, so you have to think about your chance to get in. Sometimes like no, you can take the you can go to B
Mhm.
school and still take the course from computer science major, right? You could still do that. You don't have to really,
Exactly.
right?
Yes. US colleges really, in general, allow students to, and especially these top schools, they allow students to take courses outside of their department and the college that they're enrolled in. Obviously, most of your classes will be within whichever college you're enrolled in, arts and sciences, business, engineering, but they value flexibility, being able to explore different sets of interests, especially in your freshman and sophomore year. And then, as I mentioned earlier in the presentation, Columbia has um, unique interdepartmental majors that you can pursue within their undergraduate college. So those are some things that you might want to look for if you are a student that has interest in more than one major, whether that's in business and engineering, whether that's maybe it's economics and statistics. You want to look for a college in which you'll have the opportunity to take courses and potentially, have that combined kind of major. And that's why the college search process is extensive. It should start in your junior year. Even before then, getting acquainted with different kinds of colleges and universities. Junior year is when you build your list of schools heading into senior year. But the college search process can begin as soon as you enter high school, just getting a sense for what's out there. But definitely now in the spring, if you're a student or have a child who is a junior, now in their spring semester, this is the time to really, devote to researching a broad set of universities to then narrow it down to 15 schools. You definitely don't want to apply to something like 25 or 30 different schools. Each of these colleges, it requires tailoring that application to the university. And with how selective it is, you really have to be intentional and strategic about which colleges ultimately make it to your list.
Okay, so so I want to ask another question related to the college list. So basically, we all know it will be 3 levels, right? And so rich school, target school, and safety school. So how many rich schools a student should pick? Because we normally see they tend to have a lot of rich schools, target school, and safety schools. So
Yes.
like share different scenarios.
Yes. So it depends on the student, and a reach for one student could be a target for a different student. But for all students, the top 20, top 30 US colleges are reach schools. It doesn't matter if you have a 1600 and a 4.0, they're reach schools. How many differs in terms of the student. Maybe a student is excited about, universities that might be less selective than Ivy League schools. And so through working with the student, we identify a set of universities in which there is maybe about the same number of reach and target schools. But then, if a student, it really depends on what their portfolio looks like. So maybe for a given student, the Ivy League schools are going to be a far reach. So maybe we decide if we are going to apply to an Ivy League school, let that be maybe 1 or 2 of those universities, and let's focus our efforts on universities that might offer somewhere between 15 to 30% acceptance, to focus our search more strategically there. If a student is overwhelmingly a strong candidate in terms of what they've accomplished, their transcript, everything is top notch, we might consider having more reach schools in that case. But maybe a student, doesn't have a perfect transcript, or is applying test optional because, the SAT might be that student's Achilles heel. We might want to consider, again, more fit considerations for any student, but especially then, why are we applying to these set of schools? Why are we investing our time in this university? What can you see yourself doing at that school in terms of how you thrive? And so each school on the list should be intentional. But as far as likely schools, honestly, it's mostly in-state schools at this point that can even be categorized as a likely school. Most schools aren't likely schools unless they maybe have something like an 80% acceptance rate. But otherwise, the majority of the schools will likely be your target schools, and then a handful of reach schools. And there should be for each of those schools, there should be clear intention as to why that school made it on their list and what it has to offer, why it's a good fit. Each college application is a significant, effort for a student. And so you want to make sure that you're applying to colleges that you can see yourself thriving in for the next 4 years. So that's important both for the student themselves, but also for the admissions committee as they're assessing their incoming class.
Yeah, so we also need to remind parents there's a Tuft syndrome, right? It's called Tuft syndrome. So basically, sometimes you are overqualified, and they will not give you the spot because they know, they know you will not come. So sometimes we do see
Yeah.
very good students got rejected by some maybe average schools, right? And the parents they're panicking about that. So yeah, we should be really careful about that. So in terms of the liberal arts college, do you recommend parents or students actually they pick several college they pick several liberal arts college to put it in their list? Do you think that's necessary or that's also a case by case?
So I think that liberal arts colleges are extremely overlooked in the college search process. By liberal arts colleges, these schools, these top 50 schools provide a liberal arts education, but liberal arts colleges, as we use the term, you can think of Williams, Bard, Swarthmore, Wesleyan, especially for students who have a broad set of interests, might be undecided, need more flexibility in terms of their curriculum. Those could be a great place. And these are also colleges that have around 1,500 to 2,000 students. Undergraduate, their resources are mostly focused on undergraduate studies. So with that said, the experience you would get at a school of 1,500 students is much different than what you would get at a large public university, meaning that your first year of college probably won't be spent in an auditorium like it would at a school with 40,000 students, for example, undergraduate students. So, if that appeals to you, having, the opportunity to connect with many of your peers in your classroom, your professors, faculty. Some of these schools, faculty mentorship is very much emphasized. Lehigh is an example of that, where students can work directly with faculty in various projects, research. So the size of the school could be an important factor for some students, and liberal arts colleges offer great opportunities for students, and that can also help balance your list out. After you determine, if right now you're thinking about Ivy League schools, which ones are you applying to and why? But also, if you're looking to balance out your list, I would recommend looking into liberal arts colleges. And again, there's a book called Top Colleges That Change Lives, and many of those schools are liberal arts colleges.
Okay. Sure. Let's go to the next question. Let me see. The next question will be, okay. Do you think students attending virtual internships offered by a top college be beneficial?
So with many things, again, it depends on the nature of the program. I mean, so if you say that the internship is offered by a university that you're interested in attending, you can discuss that then in your YS essay. Said you had an opportunity to work with a professor from the university in one of your college essays. So if that's research and internship, you can mention that as a way to demonstrate knowledge on the school. You can perhaps even request a letter of recommendation and submit it along with your application to that university. Typically, that would be an optional letter of recommendation. So, with any opportunity, the student should see what it specifically has to offer, whether that's the opportunity to work with a professor, learn about something that they've been curious about, research a specific question. So ultimately, you should think about how that's going to translate into your broader college narrative, and how that's piecing together a bigger picture of your candidacy.
So to summarize that, so basically what you actually do is more important than just the name of the college.
Right, right. Yes, yes. And if, let's say your top choice school is, I don't know, let's say your top choice school is Columbia. You've spent a summer there, you've worked with a professor, you have a letter of recommendation from that Columbia professor, you've connected with students and alumni, you'll have a more informed perspective on what Columbia University has to offer beyond just the name of Columbia too. So whatever that opportunity affords for you, how it'll help you grow and develop, that's also something to consider with any opportunity, research, internships, anything else.
Okay, cool. The next question. So submitting an optional video for college application will boost the chance of getting in. We do see a lot of universities, they require the video.
So this is a newer kind of trend on the rise in terms of video submissions. Obviously, some colleges have an interview process. Lehigh has an interview as part of their undergraduate admissions process. Other colleges do not do interviews. Georgetown has an interview as well. But I anticipate that video submissions will probably become more popular over the next few years. That's definitely something that, working with a college counselor can help you prepare your communication, your delivery on the video submissions. So yeah, that's kind of a newer trend in the admissions process that might, take the place of or complement the interview process, but it's just another way of getting to know you as an applicant.
Mm, Okay, so next question. If a student wants to major in biomedical engineering, which AP course should he or she take if they only can do one, AP Bio or AP Physics C?
That's a tough question because both of those disciplines are related to it. I would probably look at the admissions website for more information on what courses they're looking for students to take. Now, if you have not taken physics yet in high school, then definitely take the AP physics class. Most students take bio, then chemistry, then physics. So if that's the case, you should probably take AP Physics C if you're a junior, and then maybe you can take AP Bio as a senior.
Mm. Okay, so the next question, which schools are good for students who want to pursue both art and STEM?
Great question. So it depends what kind of art. Are we talking about music, performing arts, art history, visual arts? So I would say Columbia, looking to Columbia, for example. But what you likely would want to look for are colleges of arts and sciences, colleges that might offer a more open curriculum like Brown University. Um, and, you know, you might, let's compare that to, for example, of Institute of Technology. A lot of the resources there are going to be focused on their engineering, computer science, and technology department. So that's one thing to consider. If you're hyper focused on STEM, those institutes and technology might be a great fit. But if your interests are to explore both art and STEM, you also want to consider maybe place as part of this process as well. Maybe being in New York or Los Angeles, if you want to get more into performing arts, NYU Tisch. But I think based on what you described, colleges of arts and sciences would allow you the flexibility to explore those set of interests. And again, working with a college counselor can help you identify colleges that you see yourself thriving in, and that, depending on what kind of art and science you're interested in, the kinds of programs and opportunities that colleges afford in those areas.
Okay, so how about CMU? Like the CMU, yeah, I think they have very good
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
Great point, Allison. So CMU, Carnegie Mellon, and this is where the university website and connecting with the university can really be valuable. They love to explore the intersection of arts and science. So that would be a school I would recommend that you look into as well.
Okay. The next question. So what's your opinion on applying for equally competitive programs such as Penn, MNT, and the Berkeley MNT one? Should the student just pick one or they can apply to both?
You can certainly apply to both, but it's a matter of what the rest of your college list looks like. What I wouldn't say is don't set your sights exclusively on these extremely competitive programs that accept just a handful of students. If you're interested in technology, apply for applications in that area if you're interested. But if your interests lie across both business and technology, again, you'll want to look for a curriculum that would allow you to explore both interests either through a concentration, maybe it's a collaboration between one college and another, like we saw with the Cornell example with environmental management. It's a collaboration between two different undergraduate colleges. So that might not be a specific program like M&T, but it's an opportunity for you to explore both sets of interests through either, a major, a program, or a collaboration between departments or colleges within a university.
Okay. So next question. I think we already answered the question internship and summer school, right? And the next question, I'm not really sure about that. My daughter is a junior play through she maybe you want to ask if she needs a college counselor, right? 那个家长你可以联系一下我哈，我把我的那个WeChat 留在这边。就如果你有进一步的这一个想要咨询升学顾问的问题的话呢，你可以加一加我。我把那个 WeChat 放在 chat box 里面了。So I share my WeChat in the chat box. So if you have very specific questions in terms of hiring like college counselor or more questions about your kids, you can add my WeChat and then we can have a further conversation. Okay, next one. A top liberal arts college, a need blind or need aware?
So, yes, many of the top 30 schools in terms of financial aid are need blind. Public universities, larger institutions, they will likely be more need aware. But it's important to check the admissions website, the financial aid office website for more information about that. It does vary by university, but I can say for the most part, a lot of these top schools, most selective schools are need blind as far as their admissions process. But again, just double check.
Or do you think maybe because of the liberal arts college, maybe they have more money or they want to get better students, so they tend to, give you scholarship or, or something like that?
So with scholarships, the Ivy League schools don't give out merit scholarships. Every student there is spectacular. They would likely qualify for a merit scholarship, but many public universities and competitive public universities, they will offer merit scholarship opportunities, private colleges and universities, as long as you apply by a certain deadline. So for example, Emory, they have, their early deadline, their regular deadline, but they also have a specific deadline if you would like to be considered for merit scholarship opportunities. So again, just, once you've built your list of schools, or if finances are a big part of your college search process, then that should be part of the consideration that you have as far as the factors in building your college list.
Okay. Okay. Oh, okay. This question is very interesting. For Cornell, I heard the admissions decided by each
Mhm.
college under the university.
Yep.
Can students transfer, to different colleges after they being admitted,
Great question.
or what are other top universities have the similar admission policy like Cornell?
Great question. So Cornell has several undergraduate colleges, and some of the most competitive ones are the Dyson School of Applied Economics and Management, the College of Arts and Sciences. They have other schools, everything from hospitality management through the hotel school, which is world renowned. If you're interested in hospitality, check out the hotel school at Cornell. They have a School of Industrial and Labor Relations, which is a bit less selective than the other colleges. So if you have interest in law, labor relations, even finance and business, but you are considering selectivity, look into the ILR program at Cornell, for example. But to answer your question, as we saw in the presentation, there's a specific supplemental essay depending on the undergraduate college at Cornell that you want to apply to. So whether that's the Dyson School, the engineering school, arts and sciences, you are writing an essay to that particular undergraduate college. You're admitted to that undergraduate college. You can then decide to transfer in within the school to a different undergraduate college. It's not too common and frequent to do that. You would have to, it does follow a process, meet with a faculty advisor, make sure you're taking the right courses, and there might be an application process as well. And so, yes, you can do that at other schools. For example, as we saw in the presentation too, University of Pennsylvania, Penn, you are applying to the Wharton School, you're applying to Arts and Sciences. They have a nursing school as well. So you'll be submitting an application. You're admitted to that undergraduate college. Now, that differs at a school like Harvard. Its undergraduate program is Harvard College. So all the students are part of Harvard College, and they are admitted as students to Harvard College. So that's a bit different than Cornell and Penn with their different undergraduate colleges.
Okay. So, I mean, if a student want to transfer from art and science college, which is like normally the biggest college, right, to B school or engineering school, so normally that's more difficult than transfer from the smallest college to the bigger one, right?
Yes, there's going to be a process that each school follows, and you'll need to meet with a faculty advisor to see what that process and what the requirements are. It is possible, but you'll want to at least submit an application as a first-year student to a college that is going to be a good match to explore your academic interests in some ways. So that's one thing that you would need to consider. Maybe your interests lie um, in business, but Cornell's business school, maybe it's too selective. You decide to apply to arts and sciences, and you write a broader essay on the intersection of your interests between the environment and economics, and you're admitted to arts and sciences that way. That's something that working with a college counselor can help you determine a strategy for what undergraduate college is best suited for your application process.
Okay. Okay. The next question, Alison Liu, Annabelle, can you check these two questions? A very good one regarding the STEM research paper and the STEM competitions.
So admissions officers are looking at your application holistically. So they're not saying, you know, um, this um, student's research is more valuable than a competition. It's more so they're looking to get a sense of who you are and what you'd contribute to their college campus. Now, if you as a student feel like you can excel more through research or competition, or maybe it's both, then that's all part of the narrative that you're developing. So With the U.S. admissions process, it's not a set of boxes that you're checking off. The only thing that's a bit more clear cut in that sense is, are your grades impeccable for an Ivy League school? That's really, something that's pretty clear cut. You have to have impeccable grades. And not only that, but the courses you take should be the most rigorous ones available at your high school. But as far as the other pieces, the extracurriculars, what you do outside of the classroom, it's all part of a story, a college admissions narrative that you're piecing together. So it's difficult to say, this or that, but if you work with a college counselor, they can assess the extent of your resume and portfolio and guide you more properly and say, this would be a better use of your time if you're a junior right now to pursue this route, for example. STEM research papers. I heard a rumor that papers published on high school journals are not helpful during college applications. Is that true? I'd say no, because what that demonstrates is academic initiative. If there's a question that you've been looking to explore through your academic opportunities, and you do that through research, and you're able to get that, publishing something is no small feat. It's a process that requires writing abilities, dedication to the research process. So that demonstrates a lot of academic commitment on the student's end.
And so if we have to choose either research or competition, I probably feel from the storyline, like narratives perspective, maybe research could, have more like story elements, right? Could help more with relatives.
Yeah, I think so. In terms of the competitions, maybe that student really enjoys being in that setting. And if you have a ton of awards from competitions, whether you're a debater or you're in Science Olympiad, that's also great. Maybe it's certain, maybe you wrote a speech on something you're really passionate about, and that's conveyed in your college application, through a competition that you entered. That could be, part of the story, but it's more about, with these pieces, how you then craft it into a narrative about your interests and how you would thrive on that university's campus. Maybe there's an instructor at that school that's conducting research in something that you've been exploring. Maybe that instructor supervised your research paper and you want to continue working with them into college. So
Okay. The next question. Okay. Easier to get that's easier to get scholarships or financial aids in the early action round or early decision round?
in terms of merit scholarships, you'll likely be looking at applying early. Financial aid, there's a FAFSA application, which is from the federal government, and the CSS profile for private universities used to distribute scholarships and additional financial aid. So again, look at each school's individual deadlines for being considered for scholarship opportunities. There might also be short essay requirements for a particular scholarship. Many scholarships are given around students with a set of academic interests, can be funded by alumni from universities for a certain set of students, based on GPA, other factors. So it just varies by college.
So, so for example, if a student really needs the financial aid, will it affect the chance for this student to get in or not?
So that goes back to the question someone asked around need blind, need aware. So if we're talking about these top 20 schools, it's not going to impact you. They actually are excited to admit first generation low income students to their incoming class. But colleges public universities especially, which funding might be more of a question for them, and So certain colleges, especially large public universities, you'll definitely want to confirm if they're need blind or need aware if finances are a factor in your search process.
Okay. Okay, the next question. So still about AP. So if a student is now at 11th grade and plan to major in environmental science, should the student choose AP environmental science or AP physics C at 12th grade?
Yeah, yeah.
Mm.
Well, I think based on the information I have here, I would likely say AP environmental science, but I'm also wondering if that student has taken any level of physics, because for most science majors, taking physics is something that they want to see. So student has taken AP chemistry at 10th and takes AP bio at 11th. Yeah. I mean, especially if the major's in environmental science, the AP environmental science class would allow you to explore your interests in that field and really aligns closely with that major. But I would also check the admissions website to see if they have any specific admissions requirements, whether it's just lab science or if they want to see physics. Physics, for example, for engineering majors, you have to take it. So for environmental science, I would just look into the website, and it likely differs by school.
Okay. So what's the minimum GPA for Ivy League schools? Good questions.
So what's interesting is that Ivy League schools usually don't say they have a minimum GPA requirement. If you were to ask me that question, though, you have to have, if I'm working with a student and we're discussing Ivy League schools, they either have perfect straight A transcript unless they have maybe a B or two as the exception, or if that student has demonstrated significant upward trajectory in their academic performance. So let's say that student, had 2 Bs in 9th grade, but now 10th and 11th grade, they've taken numerous AP classes and it's all been A's, then that should be something that leaves them in good standing. But if the student has a mix of A's and B's, or if it's junior year, they're taking several AP classes, but they're not doing well, then that might mean we have to look into other schools, because the Ivy League schools expect you to take the most challenging classes that your school has to offer. I know many Ivy League applicants have over 10 AP classes on their transcript. Either a 4.0 or 3.9 GPA is likely what you're looking at.
Okay. So does the student district really affect the selection of the universities? Some people say university prefer to have students from a good school district versus the regular school district.
Yeah, so good question. There's a regional admissions representative, and that regional admissions representative is familiar with the schools in the area. They might even visit your school, your high school. And so they are familiar. They'll have a school profile. They'll be familiar with the different high schools that students are applying from. What they're really looking for, regardless if you attend the #1 school in your district, or maybe you attend, the number 10 school in your district, or, you attend a really elite private high school, or you attend a really great public high school. What they're really looking to see is how you've used the resources and opportunities available to you, and how you've excelled academically at your school, how you've made an impact on your school. Leadership is so important as well. So, there might be valedictorians that don't get into the Ivy League school, but maybe another student who's ranked within the top 5% does get admitted because they've been so actively involved in their high school community, have, been leaders, made initiatives, social change. They're passionate about certain causes or interests that they have. So, there's a variety of factors. They do take into account the context of where you're applying from. So really competitive school districts, they can't, just admit students from, the top 10 high schools in the US. They need to build a diverse, well-rounded incoming class. So they're looking at the full picture, the school the student attends, the courses that are available, leadership, and that's all part of holistic review.
Okay. I think we answered the last question and then we can wrap up today's webinar. For ED, what will happen if financial aid does not go through afterwards? Can ED be turned down?
Yeah, so in that case, ED is a big commitment. So I would recommend if you're applying ED to really understand the cost of attendance, if that's part of it. And if the financial aid piece doesn't work out, there will be a process in which, you'd meet with a representative from the school if, you can't afford to attend the university to potentially exit the ED contract, but it's not a simple process. And, definitely understand the cost of attendance and obviously the rest of the college search factors when you're applying ED. Now, that being said, for low-income students, since these colleges are need blind, Ivy League schools, top 20 schools, they generally provide great financial aid for students who otherwise couldn't afford to attend the university.
Okay, so yeah, I think we answered pretty much all the questions. Okay, so yeah, so thank you, Annabelle, so much for such a wonderful and insightful webinar. And I will also, keep the last slides with 2 QR codes for a while. And if you want to schedule a free inquiry meeting with Annabelle, you can scan the QR code on the right hand. But if you are not sure or you just want to listen to more IvyCompass college application webinars, you can scan the QR code of WeChat assistant, and we will invite you into our WeChat community, and you can get yourself educated. Okay, so thank you, Annabelle, so much. And yeah, let's say goodbye to everyone.
Thank you all so much for attending. Thank you, Allison. It's been great speaking with you all today.
Okay, bye bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
各位家长，我把这一个 QR code 2个 QR code 再放一下哈。然后呢，如果您现在是在手机上听的话呢，你就截图截屏一下，然后呢，你之后可以去用手机扫码。如果您是扫不了码的话呢，刚刚我已经把我的这个 WeChat 放在了 Chat box 里面，你也可以加我的 WeChat，我把你拉进群。